So hello, thank you very much to you all for coming to this inaugural event for self-build and community-led housing. So I'm Virginia Taylor and I'm the leader of Eden District Council, which is we're the people who've convened this event today. And I'd like to welcome everybody, exhibitors, our generous sponsors, other guests, and celebrities. But most of all, I'd like to really welcome you, the people who have come hoping to build your own home, hoping to build your own house, what you want, not what somebody else thinks you want, and not what somebody else thinks is good enough. So you'll be inspired and informed and emboldened, I hope, by all the experts we have here today. But do remember that Eden District Council's people will give you ongoing support for your project. So be in touch with them right from the very, very start. They've got experience, they are knowledgeable, and they can help you grow your own plans. They can save you a lot of time. They can point you in the right directions, they can give you help with planning, with building, with finance. And if you are part of a group, if you're part of a small group of people who's trying to get together to build something in your community, then it's all the better. There's even some actual money which we can give you to support community-led schemes. But you don't need me to tell you how difficult it is to get on the housing ladder in Eden, how difficult it is for people with average earnings. And it's almost impossible for when people grow up and leave their families, for them to get somewhere to live in the place they think of as home. And self-build is a great way that resourceful and creative people can find a way to house themselves and to make their communities more sustainable. So people like you, as you solve your problem, your housing problem, you also help me because there's a number of difficulties. There's a shortage of houses that people can afford where the jobs are, and this means that employers can't be sure they can grow their businesses. Employees often have to travel to work here in Eden from areas where housing is cheaper, and this isn't sustainable when you're trying to reduce CO2 levels because of the travel. It also isn't sustainable for the communities in our big, scattered, beautiful Eden. And on the subject of sustainability, self-build's a great way to get the highest standards of insulation, to incorporate electricity generation, and to use other sustainable and cheap sources of power. So if, while you're at it, you can get yourselves pretty much zero heating bills, why not? As a local leader, I really want to attract and keep the sort of creative and resourceful people who will be self-builders. They're self-starters. They can add to everything that goes on in their communities. They can maybe be employers themselves. They raise their families and keep rural communities vibrant and viable into the future. And you know there's a real range of self-build possibilities, from sort of grand homes for lottery winners to really do-it-yourself pioneer stuff, with straw bales and you're living on site in a caravan and bucket. But in between those two extremes, there's a great deal of modular building and eco-resources which can be which you don't have to be a master builder to use. So remember, I say it again, we at EDC not only can help, but we need to help with expert agencies also like CAFs, such as the Cumbria Action for Sustainability, and they've often have some workshops. There's one in September with going down to see how Lancaster co-housing are doing. And ACT, which is the Action with Communities in Cumbria, okay? And so you can talk to these people today and others who've also helped today are the generous sponsors of today's events. So I'd just like to extend our thanks to them. And I'll thank them first as being most important. And so our sponsors are Thomas Armstrong Timber, the Ecological Building Systems, Penrith Farmers and Kids, the Spanish Slate Quarries, and the Unity Bank Trust. And I'd like to give my personal thanks to the officers of Eden District Council for conceiving and organising and maintaining this event. In particular, thanks to Andy Lloyd, who's our real expert on community-led housing, and he's been central to the organising and planning of this event over many months. So finally, I'd just like to welcome to Eden someone who widens our design horizons and inspires us all. And I'm delighted to say, helps spread the message about sustainability in building, that it makes good sense, it isn't an add-on. And I'm also, would like to say that he's very big in Sweden, I happen to know. So he's a person familiar to us from TV programs like Building the Dream and Homes by the Sea, and I'd like to welcome Charlie Luxton to come and take over our keynote speaker.